they're two Americans living in Japan. So yeah, they're with they just I find them. Well, Sig messaged me on Twitter. And so did Laz, who's another American. He was actually in RRS season 4. But then like we were teaming, and then we're basically, me, Sig, and Laz were like, oh yeah, we're basically a team. And then Furlash came into the picture as well, and we tried out with him, and then we're like, ooh, and then so we ended up playing with Furlash as our main.
Wow, just dogging the boys.
And
he forms the team, and you're like, you know what, you're out.
No, it wasn't like that. We were like, look, we're coming together. We're gonna do some tryouts, and then we made a team. And then I just find it hilarious that in Asia, basically APAC North, right? It's just a sea of Japanese teams, as you'd expect, and then it's just like 2 Americans and a Brit,
and 1 Korean team.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like everybody's super into it. There were over 50 signups, which was about the same as the number of OCE signups in total as well. So
yeah, I think it was 58, and it was actually more than APAC South.
Yeah,
because it looked like it was 14 teams until like the last 2 days. Everyone was like, oh, I guess everyone's automatically qualifying, and it's going to be hilarious. And then out of nowhere, like 40 teams signed up.
That always happens, though. At least it's not what is meant to happen, but like everybody signs up last minute. And I know APAC, you guys changed your schedule to 9 p.m., 8 p.m. or something.
Don't get me started on that absolute bullshit. Basically, right, every region's like, yeah, 5 p.m. sounds about right. Sounds like a fair time. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. And then APAC North's like, wait a minute. We live in Japan. We work until midnight every single day. What we can't start at 5. So like, okay, 7 o'clock, fine. I mean, I get 5 o'clock, you know, that's sort of like when a work day ends, right? Yeah, I can get that. Even though everyone playing is not at work, they're all like 16, right? Whatever. And then I'm like, okay, 7 p.m. It's like, oh no, everyone's like 7 p.m. That's far too early. Let's do 9. Some people were like, I want to start at 11 p.m. I was like, what are you chatting about? And then Nish was like, look, we're not starting later than 9. This is just getting silly. So I was like, so basically we're starting at like, we did start at 9 for the open quals, but for the main event, I think it's 7. But it's like, it's just, a lot of people were still like, oh, we can't do it till 7. We're at school and work. And I was like, this is,
how are you at school till 7?
What exactly? The Japanese, they do school on like Saturdays as well. It's unbelievable.
What?
Like, I think they have like, I'm pretty sure it's very common to have school on Saturdays, and like they just work so late.
Come on, guys, relax.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Realizes in chat he's going to be here later. I just want him to relax. If he shows up in a hot tub, then I'll be happy, you know, in a hot bath.
It's unbelievable. It's so. Yeah, well, it's like, actually, I want to know this, right? Realize the chat. Like, it's impossible to get a scrim before 9 p.m. in Japan. Oh, every single team scrims after 9, and I'm like, I have to go to bed, like, because I want to wake up at a reasonable hour the next day, right? Like, I want to go to bed at an adult time and not stay up till 5 in the morning. Like, realize, why can't you scrim before 9?
That's ridiculous. What time?
Sorry,
I mean, what time are people waking up there? Like, surely if they're staying till work super late, they just... No, I've watched some anime that are like very like day in the life of, and I'm like, this can't be normal, but it seems crazy. It's
yeah, I don't know. There needs to be, I think there's going to be a shift in the work culture. I think the younger people in Japan are definitely like pushing towards working less hours, but it's definitely just very much ingrained.
Yeah, but then they'll be working 40-hour work weeks, 9 to 5, maybe 9 to 6 or something, and the rest of the world will be doing even less. Like, everybody in the world's pushing for less hours now.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, you just got it's better than something, right? It's better than nothing.
Yeah. Oh, well, at least RLCS is there, you know, and you still get to play it no matter what. And it doesn't matter if you're tired too on a Friday, because you should be able to get through the top 16, right?
Yeah, all right. Everyone has a schedule, like school job, part-time jobs until 9. Exactly. That's ridiculous. Yeah. That should not be happening.
You should be getting home from school at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And then,
even that's, I think, quite...
And then do your chores, do your homework till 5:30 maybe p.m. and then free time. You know, where's your free time come in? If you're getting home at 9 p.m. and you've been out all day, you have like an hour and then you got to go to bed.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
a bit...
but why would people who would like try to work part-time jobs and go to school at 11 p.m. worrying about Rocket League? Like, there's no time to play Rocket League.
That's the thing. They're playing Rocket League from after 11, I guess. But then, what time are you waking up? I don't know. It's like
you play 11 till 3 a.m. and then you wake up at 7 a.m. the next day.
Yeah, 4 hours of sleep. I mean, that is not efficient. Like, you're gonna have to do the most shit work ever. That's the point. It's just like more hours does not equal more productive. Like,
yeah, I'd die. Like, I would be so unproductive. I'd just do nothing all day. And then I get fired and have to go into Rocket League casting just to hope to get by. What are you doing for work at the moment, Doomsee? Like, why are you in Japan?
Well, they're two different things. But firstly, my work is I edit for Torrent mostly, make videos for them. So I'm basically a full-time video editor at the moment. So yeah, I do Torrent stuff, and then I also do Silence videos. So I work with Cole and Stumpy. Make their Sonics recap videos and all that stuff. So yeah.
Do you just do that from home?
Yeah, I do it here at home. So yeah, it's pretty convenient. The reason I moved to Japan though is because my girlfriend moved out here for work, so I just followed.
I thought you might just be a massive weeb, like next level.
Yeah, massive. I've got all my anime figurines behind me.
Yeah, real otaku. Love it.
Yeah, probably. Doomsee came to Japan in 2016, right? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
And also to answer Realize's earlier question, Doomsee doesn't speak the greatest Japanese, according to him.
It's warui desu. It's very bad. I've taken Japanese lessons since I've moved out here, and I can read very, very basic Japanese, speak very little. The hardest part is the listening, weirdly enough, because it's just so fast and it's such a different language to English. I just don't really I'm not great. Like, if I had a conversation with a Japanese person, unless we talked about the most basic of stuff at 1 miles per hour and you gave me like a minute to respond, then maybe we can get by or something. But other than that, I'm basically just learning the important things to get around here, like ordering food at restaurants, you know what I mean, and like going to the shops.
I think that would be extra funny though if we got you to translate for Realize. It would just.
I mean, you can type a sentence in the chat, and I would just like sit here like, The problem is the kanji, right? Because it's like, oh my god, like, I only know the very basic kanji, and all the rest is just like it's so complicated.
Just do the opposite. Just make things up. Just be like, I heard this one word, and just run along with that. I'm sure.
Well, honestly, that's half of I think learning another language is I would hear one word and just that's enough to give context, right?
Yeah.
For example, if I'm at a shop, the common one, if I'm at a shop, right, and I hear them say bag, which is fukuro, then I'll know they're asking me if I would like a bag, even if I haven't understood any of the other parts of the question. So already I'm like, yes, yeah, please, I'd like a bag, or I would, no, I'm alright, thanks. So
that's it.
It's so difficult.
So you guys, let's go back to Rocket League. Like you've been in RLCS before, Supersonic Avengers, missed out on LAN by one point by one series as well, and it wasn't even your own series, somebody else's series.
Yeah.
Can we dig deeper out? Like, you're just a miserable career. You were so close to success. You could have had everything, and it all fell apart from there. You had to play with Snasky. Yikes. What have you been doing in Rocket League since then? Like, have you been? I know, actually, you did try. That sounds harsh as well. You like stayed in Gfinity and stuff like that. You're still always trying to get back to the top.
I'll tell you what, actually, Gfinity was a right hoot. I had so much fun there. It was, so yeah, after RLCS, like we tried season 3. I think I tried with Bluey. Bluey and Sebadam, I think was season 3.
Yeah.
We didn't do amazing, which we should have done. And then I tried every season until season 7, I think. Wait, when was 20? What season was 2019? September 2019.
Yeah, that was season 7.
Yeah, I think that was the last.
Well, season 8 if it was September.
Depends when the qualifiers were. Anyway, it's around that time, right? And then that's when I retired. But between then, I played in 2017 was the last time I was actually in notable tournaments. So like that was when you had like DreamHack Sweden, I think.
Yeah.
Again, we blew in Severdam. But then I also went with like Flarky and Data. We almost got into the rival series. I remember we were one series off that. That was annoying. I know. And Gfinity was actually. I remember the first season of Gfinity, we dominated the league. We didn't lose a single match. We were like 6-0 in the league. I was the top goal scorer. I was like, obviously they were like the best players in the world weren't quite there, but it was like there was a really healthy European scene there, and that was good fun. And then it kind of went downhill a bit in season 2. I remember season 3 and 4, I was with #United, and 1 and 2, I was with Team Infused. And I think in season 4, that's when I had like RSI on my thumb.
Yeah.
So I went to coach for a season, which was quite interesting actually. But yeah, I've sort of like popped up in various different tournaments here and there, but I haven't done too much. This is weirdly enough the best I've ever done since season 2.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it's kind of, I did not expect this whatsoever.
But obviously, you probably expected that the competition isn't going to be as harsh. This is like entering from season 1 again, where there were a lot of bad teams. So
honestly, I feel like exactly like I was in season 1, where I'm Supersonic Avengers. If you said they were going to win season 1 RCS, you wouldn't be like shocked. You'd be like, yeah, it makes about that would be a viable pick, right? You'd obviously you'd pick Flipside Tactics to be your favorite, yeah. but this is exactly how I feel right now, where I'm like, I feel like we're a top 4 team, where you wouldn't be insane to put money on us to win. That's actually quite definitely a real chance. But then like Tokyo Verde is just at the top, like they're the Flipside Tactics at the moment, and then there's like the rest trying to get to the number 1 spot. That's exactly how I feel right now. Well, we're playing Tokyo Verde,
yeah, and
I feel like that's a real challenge, but I don't feel like they're like leagues above us. Like I feel like there's definitely it's like a real. It's like they're saying the flow state where you need a challenge that's hard enough that really pushes yourself, but is easy enough where you're not getting beaten too much and you don't lose your like confidence and it gets a bit boring. So I feel like that's exactly right. If it was exactly like season 1 of RLCS. So basically, what's going to happen is we're going to hit playoffs. We're going to beat Tokyo Verde. We're going to get to the finals, and then all we have to do is win to get to the major. And then actually, we're going to lose to like Alke or something, and then we're not going to qualify. This is going to be exactly what's going to happen. So
then, if you're got the Flipside Tactics Tokyo Verde, who's the Weedem Girls / Northern Gaming? And then also, who's the meme Flying Dutchman team who will go and somehow do really well? All from APAC North.
So Ganders and Detonator, they're your Weedem Girls, the Northern Gamer, right? And then like, obviously I don't even know about the meme team.
Well, I know Gex was really backing Nimpt. So
Nimpt. Yeah, maybe. It would because we've tried just basically scrimming Tokyo Verde, Ganders, and Detonator because we want to scrim the best teams, right? We haven't really had much of a chance to play the other teams. We played Nims, I think.
At 11
PM. And Lucky Bounce, but we haven't really played much other. So I'm quite excited for this weekend to see like what teams we're going to play and like see how everyone else does.
Wait, so how are Lucky Bounce, by the way? Because everyone's got them like number 16 seed. I'm assuming they're not.
This is the weird part because like I would say that sounds about right, but the problem is there's a lot of teams between 16 and like 5 that we haven't played, so there might be quite a lot of teams that are actually worse than Lucky Bounce. But I mean, like based on the results of the qualifiers, they got through the low bracket, so they should be 8th to 16th, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they're like 10th seed or something, but I'd probably say they're between 8th and 16th. They're in that ballpark. Cool. But this is why the Swiss is so useful. This is going to really like showcase where teams are actually going to be placed. It would really open up the eyes, I think.
Yeah, it makes it pretty clear. At least it's less clear usually in that final round, like who's 6, 7, 8, and 9, 10, 11. Because when you get to that area, you start finding teams that have lucky runs in that they don't verse anyone who qualified. and you have teams in that kind of area below where they versed the top teams throughout and lost every time. So that doesn't get proven very well, but usually the teams that are coming like 15, 16 and only 1 win, 3 losses and vice versa at the top of the table, they're like very clearly like deserving to be there. But it's maybe not the greatest format for finding a separation in that middle of the pack. But it does make it exciting at the end of the day because those guys end up being in a elimination match, right?
I guess that's why actually League Player is probably the best format, because you just play every single team, so you kind of know. But I guess in this one it's more long term. In the League Play, it's sort of in one tournament structure you can figure out. But in this one, obviously you've got so many regionals and tournaments going on that eventually it all balances out in the rankings and the points. So
it removes a lot of pressure too, because you know, before you had to just do really well in your few matches that you had. Now you have a lot more, and you get a lot more practice, and that's what we've seen, at least in OCE in particular, but I'd also say both Europe and North America have seen a huge, vast improvement of their non-top teams because of the sheer amount of matches they get to play now. It feels like a lot of the lower teams are getting pushed up a lot more.
Yeah.
Which I'm expecting will happen in APAC North as well. Like, especially more so just because a lot of these teams haven't had the chance to compete.
Yeah, it's brand new, isn't it? It's like it makes me wonder how many players were on the edge of not playing or like retiring, right? And then RLCS was announced, and now they're like, "We'll get back into it." And like, wonder how many like players who didn't really play much and just kind of play for fun and wasn't really competitive, and now they're gonna like start getting quite serious about it and should bring up a lot of new talent. I also wonder how much like the player base will be affected as well. I don't know if like when OC was brought in, if the player base went up at all.
Hard to know because it was like so early, but I mean OC is still like reasonably thriving. I don't actually have access to the player number data. Obviously, I know that it's good at minimum. I can tell you that.
I can't take a start on that. Good.
Yeah, sometimes it's great, but usually it's at least good.
I'd respect that at Sonics if they replaced it with just like excellent, great, good, and they just had like dog shit.
Yeah. Well, there is empty. There is empty as one of them, which I'm happy for. I just remember, you know, during that long run of like not making it back into RLCS, I was trying to convince you to retire and become a caster. How come that note was never a thing?
Well, because I just don't enjoy casting. I gave it a go. I did cast a couple of things.
Yeah, I remember.
Just a bit boring. It's not really my thing. I also tried coaching, and I was also like, it's okay. It's not really my thing. I'm definitely much better at just like listening to a coach and then just playing and like, yeah, we're gonna do this. All right, let's do the strategy, rather than like really analyzing and coming up with all these systems. I feel like there are more intelligent players who can watch the games and just like analyze what went wrong and who did what. Because I remember even in game, like a mistake happens, and then I'm like, how do we concede that? And I'm like looking around at all the 3 players in the replay, and I'm like, I don't really know why we conceded. Like, what could we have done there? And then I have to like go through the replay, and I spend ages, and then I go, okay, yeah, that makes a bit more sense.
To be fair, I think that's all coaches, by the way. I think you're just a little bit of a doubting Darren or something like that. Because I was the same, you know, like I can see it a lot better because I've got a ton of experience watching things live. But it's hard to see from like a top-down perspective or from a perspective that's bouncing around a lot on what exactly caused a goal and when, or, you know, and usually there's multiple reasons that a goal did happen. So, yeah.
I think the key is to like actually what is important is to like not look at the goal and see what happened like 3 seconds ago, but look like 10, 15 seconds ago, and like, because there's sometimes you're gonna get to a point where yes, you could have done something a little bit better in your positioning just then, but like you're already putting yourself in such a hard position because of what happened, you know, 10 seconds ago, that let's not focus on that. Let's focus on like way back when your boost management 15 seconds ago, the overcommitment you did before you got to being pressured, like, you know, all these things where actually like that's way easier to fix and will in turn, like, you know, you're cutting out the source then, right? You're not like putting a band-aid on the final nail. You're like you're sort of, you know, you're getting at source.
Couldn't have summed it up any better. Well, you're in the nice position in APAC North. There is only obviously one team going to the major and out of both regions, and one team going to the Worlds out of APAC North in its entirety. But you're in a nice position where at least 2 teams make it to the playoffs. So your major goal should be top 2 rather than top 1. So all you have to do is be getting into these grand finals. I'm sure that's going to make you a lot more comfortable with your ability to make it. If you get to those playoffs in 5 weeks' time, I think it is. Do you think by then you'll be good enough to maybe even be better? Are you guys putting in a lot of practice time?
We're actually working really hard. It's, because it was announced, I can't remember when RCS was announced, but we found a team, we started practicing, and obviously it wasn't too long before RCS was starting up. And obviously to get to a really good point and to improve a lot takes like quite a lot of months, right, of quite hard work. So 5 weeks isn't that long, but long. But we are, because we're a new team, right, obviously like the first couple of weeks of playing with each other was just trying to figure out how we all fit and our style. And obviously like now we're getting to points where we're actually, okay, like solidifying how we play and like coming up with strategies and practicing and, trying to work on our weaknesses. So we're definitely improving, and I am actually very hopeful that we're gonna like, get top 2 and do pretty consistently well. Is 5 weeks enough time to take the number 1 spot? I don't know, but at the rate we're like working and how much effort we're putting into it, I'm quite optimistic that we could do that.
And you have the advantage that you're not working to 11 p.m. every night, so you can actually
exactly right. It's not about how long you work; it's about how smart you work.
Yeah.
So.
I'm guessing Sig and Furlash are in a similar boat. Like they probably don't have super long work schedules or something.
Yeah, no. Sig finishes work like 3:30. Furlash is at school, so it's like they all come home at a reasonable hour, and then it's 4 o'clock, and we're all like playing with each other and like working on stuff and going through our replays and and so by the time we're doing our first set of scrims at 9 p.m, we've already been like practicing and chatting for like 2 hours across the day. So by that point, those scrims we're putting into practice what we've been like discussing and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'm guessing it's like 2 hours of scrims a night, 2 scrims per night.
Yeah, I think because we try to not do scrims. I think a lot of teams just do scrims for the sake of doing scrims and playing a top team.
Yeah.
And so which case they're like, oh, we've won, yay, scrims went so well, and then it's like, we'll do it again tomorrow. Whereas for us, we're like, okay, we're gonna try out this strategy we've been talking about, and we're just gonna see how it works, see what the weaknesses is. If we lose, it's fine. Like it's just about, because obviously like when you're trying new things, your mechanics are gonna suffer a bit and all these sorts of problems. So honestly, like I think we do 1 scrim pretty much every day, and then maybe sometimes we'll do 2 scrims, but honestly, we only need to like put into practice. Because we do 8 matches or whatever. So we'll play like those 8 matches, and then that's quite a lot of data for us to go through and then see like, well, what went right, what went wrong. So we're definitely trying to do like quality over quantity, I think, because otherwise it's just you playing for the sake of it. Because I think because throughout the day, right, if you want to practice your mechanics, just go into like free play and custom training and everything. That's the good stuff to do. Do some 2v2s or something, or 1v1s or whatever you want to do. But like when you're really going through strategy, like it's just really important to like play, check up on it, make sure you like you're encouraging each other to stick with what you're doing and like call each other out when you're not playing how you should be playing and whatnot. So yeah,
that's cool. I know in APAC South there's Azure Esports who are on the super grind, and they went from a team that people were kind of considering 4th, 5th area, and they came 2nd, and like they were just very obviously the 2nd best team of the weekend. Though that also doesn't take into account the fact that 1&E had a bit of a nervous day. They also had to verse Alki in the semi-finals, and there were a lot of nerves throughout that. So there's probably going to be one of those teams that you're talking about, Detonator. What was the other name? I keep forgetting because it's like bangers but not.
Ganders, yeah.
Yeah, Ganders.
There's also extra Ganders. I'm like, where's that come from?
There's not an org, but they have an academy team anyway. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it cracks me up.
Yeah.
Extra Ganders are not going to beat Ganders. It's going to be hilarious.
One of them could just get super nervous and just drop out really early. Or, hey, do you think that the fact that you have some RLCS experience gives you the advantage there?
I used to think so, like, because you know when you're playing on stream, I've had LAN experience and like playing on RLCS stream, so you know in terms of the mental side, that should help me out. But the amount of players I've seen who have just never played on a stream in their lives, and they just come out and they just absolutely smash it, and I'm like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it impacts a lot of people too much. There's always, every RLCS, there's always a team that just like is not expected to do well and absolutely bosses it because for some reason they just have one of those days and like, yeah, RLCS, and then there's a team that's expected to do well and they absolutely crumble.
Sonic Avengers, of course.
Yeah, exactly. You know, how could we have lost to I have no idea what team we lost to, and but I wasn't playing, so it doesn't count.
Well, I think it was probably Flying Dutchman, something like that.
No. Oh, maybe it was actually. Are you talking about the qualifier, the first qualifier?
Yeah, I think it was in the. Well, you know, because it was like 2 different qualifiers. I thought it was in the second one.
No, it was the first one. We qualified. Yeah, because the second one we qualified and we had to get first place to win get to LAN. And we got through league play, and then we beat Flipside in the semis of the playoffs. But then we lost like 4-1 to Weedham Girls in the finals. So that was annoying.
Oh, yeah. I think in the first one you must have lost to the Flying Dutchman, something like that.
Maybe not, because no, it was Precision. Was it Precision Z? No.
I'm just bringing up the results now.
No, they lost Flying Dutchman, went to the lowers, and then lost to Precision Z. I think that's what it was.
All we know is that you messed up.
Yeah, we messed up big.
Yeah.
God.
Just win next time. Oh yeah, and we've also hit the 30-minute mark. So, I hope you got a lot out of that interview. You know, it was. We
were going to interview today, weren't we? Was that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
well, that's all I wanted. I just want to have a chat with you. I've missed you.
You too.
It's been
a while.
We'll see you at the major, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll see you at a major.
A major.
Yeah,
there's 3 now, isn't there? Maybe at the wildcard tournament, if not, and then into the championships.
Unfortunately, it's going to be unlikely for Worlds because whoever gets off to such a good start, if like Tokyo get to a good start, I should say, then they may be very difficult to take down.
Yeah, but if there's a wildcard slot, because Asia have 1 each, don't they? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a LAN event, isn't
it? They have 1 each, right? But like, Tokyo Verdy's likely to take that spot, right?
Wouldn't they take because the wildcard is an extra slot because they qualify
only if Tokyo Verdy like basically come top 8 in every single major.
Yeah, because the slots, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's how you earn the extra slots, by being one of 8 invited teams to Worlds, which is not easy to do, especially since every single one of us predicted Tokyo Verdy, or I put in 3 rats as a shout out, to come dead last in the major.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, I could see 1 series win. You know, I think the beauty of the current majors and Worlds is that there's a lot of minor region teams now. So it's not just like going and versing the best team in the world straight off. You've got a much more even playing field up against regions with less experience.
Who's the best in Sam now?
Best in Sam is Furia by a mile. They've made like a super team. They took Yan from Rebels, who was like just absolute mechanical god. And now they have like Card, Kaio, Yan, who are basically the 3 best players in Sam.
Yeah.
And they're expected to be just as good as True Neutral. So
how do you think they'll do against like?
I think they'll be really good. I think they could do well because as well, Kaio Card under Low Key Esports did really well at Season 8. Or didn't do really well. They should have done better. They got beaten by OCE in Game 5. But in scrims and like all the pre-matches, they were dominant. They were doing well against NA and EU.
This is my concern. Scrims just never really reflect how the game goes. The amount of times I've heard at a LAN where like, oh, this team's doing amazing in scrims, and then they just absolutely.
LAN's like 100%. You can't tell how somebody's going to perform on stage, but like it gives you the potential, right? It shows you how good they can be, but then, you know, they are a lesser experienced team, region. You know, they'd been to two worlds at that point. That was their second world, so you can't expect them to know how to perform at worlds. You could have a team that have like crazy overperformers, like you said, but it is pretty rare. It's pretty rare for that to be the case. Yeah,
it's true. I think it's either you perform as well as you do online, in which case, oh, phew, they're not people who, they don't get too nervous on LAN. And then,
Looks like Torsos. He's a pretty nervous person, pretty nervous player, and he was really nervous at LANs, you know, and it took him until RLCS Season 6, so it took him 4 seasons to kind of have that under control, and even then, you know, not perfect, so it takes a long time, a lot of experience, and they just don't have that under the belt yet for the players that are going to be a bit nervous.
I mean, that's what I had with, you know, I had that at the start. I think my first LANs were like at Insomnia or whatever. But then, like, you know, once DreamHacks were coming around, I was getting a lot better. And then even at Gfinity, because it was a LAN every single week, it was just such good. You know, it wasn't a massive LAN, but it was still enough to, like, get you excited and nervous. And then I just eventually got to a point where I was like, yeah, I was just playing final LANs, and it was, you know, you still get nervous, but it's like you're able to like play through it and turn it into excitement. So definitely helps.
I think it'll be interesting how we go. I want to see. I at least like the fact that now you're at a major LAN, you don't get knocked out in two matches. You have 3 minimum because it's Swiss first round for the first major. For the second one, it's going to be, I think, groups into double elim. So that'll be another one where you have guaranteed 3 matches. And then in the third major, it'll be just a straight huge double elim, which is hilarious. I don't know, that might be switched between second and third split, but one of them will be just a huge double elim, which is just going to be the old Worlds format, which is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about double elimination, because, like, I know, I just like lose different matches going on. Like, if a team could play so many different teams, I think it's just better to get an overall sense of how each team is. But I don't know, double elim seems a bit cutthroat-ish now, with like as we've gotten so used to Swiss and League play.
I think that's fair. Listen, I'm gonna wish you the best of luck, mate. It has actually been 30 minutes now because we started a little late. So, congratulations on making it. I'll be rooting for you. Did you see my tier list that I made last night? You probably didn't.
The one last night? No, I've not seen that one. No.
I put you number 2. I put you number 2.
Absolute legend. Let's go.
I was like, I'm gonna believe in Doomsee. I put you ahead of Detonator and Ganders and yeah, that was my A tier. So. Cochrane didn't quite believe in you as much, neither did Gex, but everyone put you in A tier, so congrats on that too.
Appreciate the support. Try not